Hello everyone, I'm Mike Wolf. Thanks for tuning in again to the top 10 mistakes that Canadians are making when they buy U.S. real estate. And this is a really important one to me. I consider myself to be an entrepreneur, and to me, how you set up your business is going to dictate a whole lot of things. It's going to mean you can be a whole lot more successful if you're strategic right from the start. So for those of you who have never done any real estate, in some ways you might be at an advantage because I can help you, instead of trying to fix the bad habits you already got yourself into. I can start you off with a solid foundation right from the start. And it's very important because real estate, one of the beautiful things about it is it can give you passive income. Passive income gives you freedom to do what you want. So I do a lot of mentoring. And the first thing I ask my students when I meet them is, why is it you want to get into real estate? What are you trying to achieve here? And the most common thing I hear 99.9% of the time is, I want to get out of my job. I'm sick of working for somebody else. I don't want to do the 9-to-5 thing anymore. How can I replace my income passively through real estate? And so if that's your goal, you've come to the right place, because real estate is great for that. It's allowed me, I basically took my daughter out of school when she was in grade 2. We homeschooled her and basically took her around the world, and she learned so much from that. And I was so glad I was able to share that experience with her, and both her and I gained a lot from that experience. And without real estate, there's no way I could have possibly done that. So that's number one. But secondly, not everyone wants to quit their job. Maybe you love your job and you're very passionate about what you do, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there's certain advantages still to doing real estate, but doing it properly. Because this passive income, maybe it's making your car payment for you, or it's giving you one extra vacation a year with your family, or it means you can work part-time instead of full-time. Whatever it is that you're trying to achieve, it can be done through real estate. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So, but I think it's very important to keep in mind, once again, that you have to have the proper business fundamentals. So quite often, I'll give you an example, quite often I'll have people phone me up and say, hey Mike, I want to buy a property in Las Vegas. And I have no problem with that. I have a team in Las Vegas. I can get properties in Las Vegas, no problem. But I'm always curious as to why they chose Las Vegas. And more often than not, they'll say something like, oh, well, you know what, we travel to Las Vegas 3 or 4 times a year, spend a weekend here, a weekend there. It would sure be nice to have a place to stay when we're down there. And so the first thing I have to do is kind of change their thinking. Because if you're spending, let's say you're spending 10 days out of the year in Las Vegas, and this property could potentially rent for $1,000 a month. Well, 1,000 times 12 is $12,000 a year of revenue you're throwing away, so you have a place to stay for 10 days out of the year. So if you do the math on that, it's like paying $1,200 a day to stay in Las Vegas. So for $1,200 a day, you can stay in the nicest hotel in a suite. You could have room service. You could have a limo pick you up, drive you all around town. You can have the time of your life. Or you can do their plan, and you can cook for yourself. You can clean up after yourself. You can drive 20 minutes and fight rush hour traffic, which incidentally is very bad in Las Vegas on the I-15 and the 95. You don't want to do that. To me, it sounds a lot like what you do at home. Why do you want to do that? So wouldn't you rather have this property earning you that $12,000 in revenue, and you go enjoy yourself and have fun and have a real vacation? And the property doesn't necessarily even have to be in Las Vegas. Maybe the market's better in Phoenix, for example, right now. Maybe you can make more money by investing your money in a house in Phoenix. You can still go on vacation to Las Vegas. You can go anywhere you want. And so I try to encourage people to do all their decision making based on business principles. And it's very important to do that, because that's going to make or break your real estate career. And the biggest problem a lot of people have is that they think they're an entrepreneur, but really they create a business to give themselves a job because they want to get out of the one that they're at. So they create something, and now they become a slave to their business. So we don't want to create that. We want to make it so that your business is basically giving you it's giving you fulfillment. You're enjoying every day. You wake up and you can't wait to get to work because you're doing the fun parts of the job, the things you like to do. So for example, for me, I love to travel. I really like building teams, and I love teaching, and that's why I'm doing this video right now, because I love to teach. So if this was something I hated doing, this would suck. I'd be here saying, oh, I don't really want to do this. I'd much rather be doing something else. I created my business purposely to give me fulfillment and enjoyment, so that every single day that I wake up, I can't wait to go to work, if you want to call it work. So maybe, I see a lot of people, and they try and do their own renovations, and they go overboard, and they get very emotional about it. That stuff will hold you back. It's going to ruin your career. This money, this little bit of money that you're trying to save by doing the work yourself, especially in the U.S. In the U.S., the cost of labor, minimum wage. You put an ad on Craigslist in most of the cities that I work in saying, hey, I need a painter, I'm going to pay minimum wage. I'm going to have a lineup around the block of people looking for work. So why do I want to go do minimum wage jobs? You shouldn't either, unless that's really your passion. You find it really therapeutic to paint, but just know that you're probably going to make less money at the end of the year doing that than if you focus on the important aspects of this job. And usually what that is building up your team so you can get more deals. Doing things, make things so you can duplicate them. So when I build a power team in each city, I like it to be my assembly line where this person does their job, that person does their job, and this person does their job. And each person on my assembly line can do the job better than me because they do it over and over and over again. And even though I originally taught them how to do it, potentially, they're better than me at it now. So I'm doing the stuff that makes me money and the stuff that I like to do, and basically let other people do their job to make me more money. Because there's only so many hours in a day, there's only so much that I can do myself. So I'm going to leverage other people's time, I'm going to pay them for it, reward them, make sure they feel like they're part of the team and that they're benefiting. But at the end of the day, you need all these people to help. You need to leverage. So once again, we're treating it like a business. We're taking the emotion out of it, and we're trying to make it something that you can duplicate over and over and over again, because that's how you make more money. If you do one deal here, one deal there, well, you can do all right. Real estate can still provide you, even if you just had one property. But for me, I want to make it bigger. And so we're going to talk about some of the common factors, not just in a real estate business, but in any business that you need to keep in mind when you're trying to build your corporation. So number one, your company has to be scalable. What that means is, okay, great, we have the ability, if we get one house, fix it up, flip it, we can do that, and that works. But with scalability, what that means is now, hey, we found 5 great deals. We have the manpower, the ability, technology, we have everything in place that we can make this bigger. Because that's the ultimate goal, is to make your company as big as possible, not necessarily create more work for yourself. Like I said, you're the entrepreneur. Your job is to guide your company and do things properly, and once again hire the right people underneath you to get the job done. So you need to make sure that this is a scalable business, because if you just keep it really low key, if your job is to create a big real estate company where you're going to get out of your job, you need to make it, you're probably going to have to make it bigger at some point. And that involves using things like other people's money, other people's time. And I'm going to teach you all these things as time goes on in different videos. So we have a lot of ground to cover. The second thing with any business is it has to be sustainable. So a lot of times I see people buying properties that give them negative cash flow. So what that means is every month you have to shell out of your pocket money to pay the mortgage payment and pay the insurance, etc., etc. So I don't teach my students how to do that. I teach them the opposite of that, and that's to get passive income and cash flow. Every property you buy should put money in your pocket at the end of the month. You shouldn't be paying to keep it. If you keep that in mind, it's very sustainable. So you see these people that during the boom times, they bought all these properties that made 0 cents. And so they bought a property, way inflated property, basically getting, X amount of rent, not enough rent to cover the payments. They were losing money every month, and they were gambling that the prices were going to go up. They were going to appreciate, and that's how they were going to make their money. Well, when you're gambling, as a business, you don't want to gamble. Your goal isn't to guess the market. It's not to predict the market. It's not to be a fortune teller. Your job is to create that money every single month so you can afford to keep these properties. Matter of fact, the more you have, the more you make, even if the market goes down. If you buy a property for $80,000 that brings you $1,000 a month in rent, well, if that property, that $80,000 property, becomes a $70,000 or $60,000 property, who cares? You still get your $1,000 a month rent. So this money coming in every month is buying, putting food on your table while you're waiting for that appreciation to eventually kick in. So that's a sustainable model. Buying something that's going to cost you money every month. Now, guess what? You have to work more hours at your job that you hate, if you do hate it, or more hours at a job that you like. Whatever it is, no matter how you slice it, you have to work more hours to pay for this loss every month. So as a business model, you don't want to have anything where it's going to cause you a problem with sustainability. That's huge. So the third point is successful. What that means, it has to be profitable. Everything you do has to get you closer to your goal. So if your goal is to replace your job, every property you buy is either going to get one step closer to quitting that job or one step further away. Well, we don't want to create anything that takes you further away from your goal. Every time you do a transaction, it's going to get you one step closer. It's your stepping stone. And you keep playing on it, keep building on it, using the momentum to get higher and higher. And we're going to teach you how to do all that. So then the fourth thing is it has to be sellable. And a lot of people say, well, why? I don't necessarily want to sell it. I just want to buy properties and make some money. And eventually what you want to do, or at least you want to model yourself, your business after, is something that's sellable, something that's valuable to somebody else down the road. So in this day and age, to me, for instance, if I was in the business of just flipping properties as opposed to holding, well, what you want to do is make something that basically every time you're trying to sell a house, you're not putting another ad on Craigslist or Kijiji and phoning random people, hey, do you want to buy my house? You want to treat it, once again, as a business. You want to start collecting people's email addresses. If you run an ad and it brings in some replies, they don't buy the specific house that you've advertised, you want to start making a database of people's email addresses, phone numbers, and build up that list. Because guess what? Sometime down the road, you may want to sell off all your properties, but maybe you have this huge email list of investors, of all these people with money. Well, how valuable would that be to another investor? That's a whole other business prospect just outside of the real estate itself. You have a whole other business right there that can make you a lot of money. That's a very valuable list to some people. So your list is very, very important to you. So all these things are very, very, very important. And you always have to keep these in mind as you're building up your business. Also, another thing I should mention is when you have a business, and once again, even if you do have a job that you love, well, guess what? When you have a job, you're getting paid for your time, and that money that you get, you're paying tax on before you get to actually spend it. Even if you don't pay till the end of the year, technically that money belongs to the government once you've earned it on your paycheck. So you're buying everything with after-tax dollars. So if you go on a vacation, if you go to Hawaii, you've earned X amount of dollars, you've paid tax on it, whatever's left over, you're using that to pay for your Hawaii trip. You're basically, if you're driving your 9-to-5 job, you're paying for gas and parking, and you can't write that off. Now, as a business owner, I can basically write all that off. If I come to your office to visit you, I'm using the same gas you used to get there, but I'm writing it off as a business expense. When I pay for parking, I'm writing that off as a business expense. So the great thing about investing in a foreign country is that you could potentially have a lot more business expenses that pertain to things like travel. So, for instance, I do a tour to Texas where I teach people how to do tax deeds. And basically what that is, when people don't pay their property taxes, the municipalities and counties need this money to pay for the roads and the hospitals and teachers. So they need this money right away. So what they do is they put your home up for auction, and somebody can buy these homes for pennies on the dollar. Well, guess what? When I fly down to Texas, for example, to attend these auctions or to teach my students, that's a tax write-off. But the fact of the matter is, these tax auctions happen in every single state. So if I wanted to go to Hawaii, I would maybe try and coincide it with the same time as a tax auction there. And guess what? Now you can write off your airfare, you can write off your hotel, and I still get to hang out on the beach. The auction's not going on 24/7, but I can go hang out on the beach and do the same things you're doing, but now they're business expenses. So there's a lot of advantages to having your own business. Even if you own just 1 or 2 properties, you can get a lot of these benefits. If you need a new computer, if you need a new camcorder, if these are legitimate things that you need for your business, no matter how big or small, you can write it off. So once again, you're not using after-tax dollars, you're letting your company buy that all for you. And that's just on its own is a huge benefit for setting up a corporation and treating your real estate as a business. So I hope that helps. We're going to talk a lot more about some of these topics in future episodes, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.